We're live. So let's do this. Every so often, we'll do this just to make sure we're not frozen.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your patience. First of all, my name is Ursula. Maybe we should wait a little while for people to come in. What do you think?
Yes, we can give them a second. We can do some intros or just have a brief chat, take a breath, let everyone get centered.
Yes, we can do that. So let me put this over here because I don't see anyone in the chat yet, but it says we are streaming. So we have one person in here, whoever this lovely soul is. Can you tell us hello? We've been having some minor/major technical difficulties in the past, but we want to make sure you all can see and hear us okay. Can you? Just so there's two people coming on. Can you all hear us? Let us know, please. You can just comment right in the chat. Would be lovely and appreciated. So let's see. It says we're live on YouTube, Sarita.
Okay. Okay, let me check to see if we're also live. And because we've been having some minor technical issues in the past, thank you for your patience and
Yes.
bear with us. We just want to make sure that um, we are here with you to converse and to serve and to love on you. So thank you so much.
So let's check our pages. Can we do that before we get started?
I
Because we
see
have
we're
to get
live
the
on my
word out.
page.
What?
We're live on my page.
Okay. So let me just double check.
I see four people are on. Hello. Let us know that you can hear us all right.
Yeah, this isn't the time to be shy. Please. Just
Well, while you're double checking all the technical stuff, um,
thank you.
yes, I want to thank you all for tuning in on this amazing conversation. Don't click off, don't leave, stay with us, and I appreciate your consideration because we have this amazing topic planned for you, talking about emotional trauma, emotional triggers that really are the source of emotional trauma, and so I guarantee you will be absolutely surprised at
Mm.
really what is emotional triggers.
Yes. Okay, I went like that because I thought you saw
Oh,
something on the screen. No, but keep going.
yes. And so thank you. I'm going to give you the stage because I want you to introduce yourself in the podcast so everyone knows.
Yes. You know what? I think we're fine right now. If
Okay,
not, we're gonna we're gonna roll with it. But I think we're
let's do
fine.
it.
Again, if you all can hear and see us, can you at least say yes or type a number one? Just something so that we know would be so appreciative. But moving forward, my name is Ursula. I am the host of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. And I stream usually every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Carol, thank you, beautiful soul. She says she can hear us.
Yay! All
Carol,
our hard work has paid off. Thank
You
you.
won $1 million.
Oh,
So good. We're in the cloud now. So but I'm on hiatus, but today is a pop-up. It's a pop-up show. So that's what we're gonna roll with today. And Sarita and I were talking, and usually one conversation goes into the next. And Carol says she wants it now. Do you take
girl,
checks, Carol?
listen. Carol said, listen, I don't need the lube, baby. I am ready to go. It's going down. Okay.
She said she wanted
I
her
like
money.
it.
She
She
wants
said,
her
shit,
money.
fuck all the mic checks. We good. Get to the conversation.
Wait, look, she said, yeah. She said, LOL, yes. I'll write you a check, Carol.
Okay, now
So
we can
here
take a
we
deep
go.
breath now that we know we are good.
We're good. So, anyways, we're going to roll with it today. So, Anybody new, please make sure and like, share, subscribe to our channels. Like, do it now before you forget. Today, our topic is about emotional relationship triggers. So, is it just me, or I'm going to be transparent and I'll tell you, Sarita. So, some of my relationships, if I would call and he never called me right back, and it seemed like every hour or minute that went by, I would be so agitated. Then when he would come home, I'm going off. Does that sound familiar to anybody that's listening, or is it just me?
You are not alone. Not at all. The way we respond might be different, but the feelings, the emotions are very similar for a lot of us.
Mm, let me get this right here. So, what exactly are emotional triggers?
Okay. So, an emotional trigger is something that can make you feel anywhere on the spectrum from feeling slightly irritated, frustrated, or completely abandoned, rejected, disregarded, and devalued. And most people would think, well, if I'm feeling something like this and I'm feeling it so strongly, then it must be true. And nothing could be farther from the truth because for so many of us, we've experienced trauma, various types of trauma, whether or not we know it. And we were doing all the tech support. Let me tell you who I am.
I
My name is
know, I
I'm
know.
telling you, and why you should listen to me and why you should care that I can tell you about your emotional traumas. My name is Cerita Yvonne. I'm an educated and validated relational trauma expert. I'm an unapologetic half hood, half holy trauma coach and an amazing, phenomenal psychotherapist. So now that I've gotten that out the way, you know that I'm just not an image consultant. I can tell you what's actually going on. So,
Mhm.
with emotional traumas, or I should say emotional triggers, so much of the time, if we are responding to a situation that's out of proportion for what is actually warranted. So, let's say a woman, you gave your an example, a partner doesn't call back, or a partner maybe says they're going to do something and forgets. Someone who's experienced trauma, whether it's a betrayal, abandonment, whether it's emotional or physical, an abusive, emotionally abusive or physically abusive parent, and they think that, oh, that was in the past, I've gotten over that. Oh, my dear. What
Mhm.
happens is because of those traumas, because of what you learned about love, because of your bonding style based on that trauma, you absolutely, very likely will attract people who will mirror those same traumatic experiences. Does it have to look the same? No. It's the context, it's the feeling, it's the things that show up in the relationship that trigger those old wounds. See, Gabor Mate, a very famous trauma expert who I love, he says that with triggers, you're the one carrying the ammunition, and the
Ooh.
ammunition is the old unaddressed wounds. And so, if someone experienced, in my case, I was abandoned by my father and emotionally abandoned by my mother. So,
Mhm.
for me, how my triggers showed up would be if I thought that you were disrespecting me in any kind of way. And disrespect could be you didn't do what you said you were going to do, which means you're untrustworthy. Now, could it
Ooh.
be that some people were actually untrustworthy? Yes. But did I take the time to actually assess, were they lying? Were they? No. I made the determination of who they were, what they were trying to do to me based on my own thoughts, which was based on my own experience. Because if
Girl.
you never actually sit down and have a conversation, ask questions, get to some understanding, or even allow the person to express their side or their points of view without you shaming them, abusing them, judging them, which a lot of times we do. Because what happens is when we're triggered, not you're triggered to an emotion, but you're also triggered to a reaction to that emotion. So you might get angry, you might get aggressive, you might feel like you have anxiety, but you're actually feeling your feelings that's attached to the original wound that's being triggered in the present moment.
So
Does
it
that make
sounds like,
sense?
yes, because it sounds like, oh man, see, there goes processing Patty. If whoever man, insert the name, it doesn't matter. If they didn't call me back, I'm thinking I'm still giving them a bone. Okay, well, he didn't call back. He's cheating. Okay, if he's not cheating, he must be dead in the hospital. Like I'm going to these extreme cases.
Ex-
And then I'm thinking, if he's dead, he needs to become unalive, call me back, and then go
Resurrect.
to, yeah, and then go back the fuck to deadness. I swear to you, I'm embarrassed.
No, there's no need to be embarrassed because I think that's so wonderful for the all of the listeners, anyone who tunes in, because first of all, we should realize that we're not alone. And we also have to understand that when we go to the extremes, that is an indication of being triggered.
Yes,
Because see, someone,
triggered.
so like now in your thinking, you would have a very different response to what happens. You would be able to go through all of the logical steps. But see, the reason why we can't do that when we're triggered is because think about it. Let's say you have a parent who was who emotionally abandoned you, which means that you had no safe, soft space. You weren't safe to express yourself, to have your own thoughts, to have your own emotions. That's emotional abandonment. And so it leaves the child feeling like they're unworthy. It leaves
Mhm.
the child feeling rejected. And so I grow up, I become an adult, I might be successful, I can get some degrees, go to school and, do all the physical things in the world. But in my intimate relationships, if someone does something that reminds me of that old wound, that when you're triggered, all of those old emotions attached to that wound flow to the surface. And now you are cut off from your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that's responsible for logic and reasoning. So it means that you literally don't have access to think logically and objectively about what's going on because you're in pain and you're trying to deal with the pain the best way that you know how. Does that make
So
sense?
it does, but it doesn't. So I have a question. When you're talking about the prefrontal cortex,
Yeah.
is it that it will shut down, which in turn, yeah, what does it shut down? So we have just that fog and we don't care to even try to dissect it, or is it subconsciously we just eliminate the middleman of the communicating like adults and just jump straight into I'm gonna unalive him
Well,
when he
exactly.
comes back home.
Well, that's a great question. And what actually happened is this is an unconscious process that is designed for your survival. Because if we as human beings had to constantly think about what we need to do in order to survive, we'd all be dead. You know what I'm saying? If a tiger is chasing you in the wild, if you got time to be like, okay, well, wait, should I go left or should I go right? Should I make a phone call? You ain't got time to think about all that shit. You either going
Right.
to play dead or you're going to run. That's the trauma response, fight or
Mhm.
flight, right? Or I'm going to brace myself to try to fight for my life. And see, for a lot of us, emotional pain, it feels like physical pain. So
Yes,
if you
because
have
my
to
heart
fight
would beat.
because your when your prefrontal cortex shut down, the part of you that is responsible for the part of your brain, your amygdala is kicking in, right? And so it's like you're being prepared to react, not to think, to react. And
So
so go ahead.
the amygdala, that's the anger part of the brain,
That
right?
is the part of your brain that is responsible for like detecting stressful situations, and we know with people who have experienced trauma, particularly any kind of what we call capital T trauma, major traumas, but so many of us experience trauma that happened over time, which is complex trauma, right? That's relational trauma. So if I'm consistently emotionally abused or emotionally neglected and it happens throughout my entire childhood, it's trauma that is consistent, but also it leaves the child feeling like there is no safety. And not only is this situation not safe, girl, not only is the situation not safe, but there is no help. So that means that so many of us have this deep internal sense of not being protected and being unsafe based on how we were treated in our childhood.
I'm so triggered right now. I just had another light bulb. Am I the only person in the comments, people? I'm talking to the people in the comments. Is it just me that's being triggered or having these aha moments? If you're having any aha moments, put a light bulb emoji in the chat. Talk to us. Let us know. I'm going to tell you what I just thought about. Mm. When I'm in pursuit of, thank you, Shantae. She's like, no, not just you. When I'm in the pursuit of unaliving said man, makes me now think now as an adult. So in reality, that was a small T. Okay, he didn't call back. But the big T trauma that would click in. But that's how I felt because, as you know, my father is emotionally unavailable.
Hmm.
So I'm taking it out on said man.
That's exactly what that's what emotional baggage is,
God damn.
right? Is that we are perceiving the experiences in our present as if they are the same as the ones from our past. And that's, this is why if anyone is resonating with this, love on yourself, be gentle with yourself, because this is what trauma is and this is what it does. This is why it's so insidious, because it changes the way you think, it changes the way you feel, it changes how you respond to other people, it even impacts what you're attracted to.
May I share something?
Absolutely.
A wise woman once said, I'm going to introduce you to her. Her name is Cerita Yvonne. And she said, do you know her? You said how the subconscious, your
Hmm.
own subconsciousness,
Hmm.
the brokenness is attracted to your partner's subconscious or their brokenness. Like the broken attracts the broken. And then there you go.
Yeah. So, I think I talked about this on your show in the past that um, there is a thing that we know, it's a thing in trauma research called repetition compulsion, or the compulsion to repeat. And so, as I said earlier, human beings love in a way that is familiar. But see, you have to understand, for many of us, what is familiar is fucking triggering. Okay, because what is
Yes.
familiar is toxic, is dysfunctional. And so when you grow up and become an adult, it doesn't mean that you just automatically get healthy. Like all of the toxic things, the thousands of ways that you are disrespected and ignored, all that shit just goes away. And magically, you know how to have loving relationships. Oh, I wish it worked like that for us, but it doesn't. And so, because of trauma and because of having parents or people who maybe weren't as loving, maybe who were distant or disconnected or addicts, that they teach you how to see yourself. And see, this
What
is
do you
where trauma
mean?
really lies.
What do you mean
This
by
is where
that?
trauma lies, because if, so let's say the way that children think and the way that we learn when we're children, we, how can I explain this in a way that is not complex? Children think in a way that is black and white. It's all
Okay.
or nothing or all about me. So if my parents are distant or disconnected, or they have to work a lot, or they got their own trauma, and so they're full of shame and they feel unworthy, and they treat me the same way that they were treated,
Mm,
then the message that I get, that is that I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, that I
mm.
have to work to be loved, that I have to earn love. I will have this deep sense of loneliness because I feel like I'm in the world all by myself, because emotionally I have been in the world all by myself. And a child doesn't have the ability, the prefrontal cortex doesn't actually become matured until around the age of 25. So when you're a child,
Really?
yes, like this is why the drinking age is what it is. This is why children can't make decisions and sign contracts. You got shit you got to learn, honey. Your brain is not even completely formed where you can plan, do all of the executive functions that an adult is meant to do.
that makes sense because when we have these traumatic events, big T or little t, and we're stuck emotionally blunted or stunted,
A
you
lot of
can
us are
feel,
emotionally undeveloped. That's the problem. We're emotionally immature
yes,
based on our experiences because we never had the chance to evolve and develop naturally because it takes parents who are mature, who are available, who allow you to explore and connect with your own identity, with your own thoughts. That's where emotional maturity comes from because how can I possibly communicate in a way that is without emotions and I can completely express myself knowing that it's safe to express myself and tell you what I think without fear of being ashamed or punished? How can I do that if no one ever taught me, if no one ever let me do that? As a matter of fact, if I was punished and I got my ass beat for doing it, you
mm,
think you're going to grow up and get in a relationship as an adult and know how to do all of that? No, you're going to attract other motherfuckers who are just like you, who can't communicate, who aren't in tune with their emotions, who were also abandoned or abused in some way. And that is the attraction factor. And you two will be triggering each other all the time. And you will say it is the other person's fault because of what you did, when actually, in actuality, what they did was trigger a wound that was already present in you because you ain't never dealt with it.
right, because it was already there,
It's
which
already there.
explains why. And I'm reading what Tashura, she said, I feel a table flip coming. So back,
Yeah.
so since we're being transparent, so okay, I'll tell the story briefly. So I had a traumatic relationship in college, but I didn't realize it was traumatic because I wasn't getting my ass beat. It was more it was emotional.
Right.
Uh yeah, it was emotionally traumatic. So fast forward, I saw this man, the same boyfriend from college. I saw him here in another state, and yeah, he said something was extremely triggering to me. So now I'm at my AARP age, and when this asshole said what he did, what he said, I flipped the goddamn table over. We were in a lounge. I didn't give a goddamn. Who does that as an adult? A
An adult that got, but see, you're not alone because what's interesting is we will all have stories. I do too, of either being the people pleaser, of being the one who the ride or die, and I want to give all. And then a lot of us also, we got that fight in us. So after so many goddamn incidents, after so many times of being triggered, I told you I blacked out and punched my narcissist boyfriend before I knew what a narcissist was. I took so much. I was a people pleaser and I'm going to help you and I want to help you heal, even though I needed my own healing. And I blacked out and punched him in the face 5 times. And so, is that crazy? Yes. But there's no excuse. I don't advocate
But
punching in the face
wait, now
unless
here's the emotionally immature part of me. If you and I were friends back then, I'd be rooting you on. Like, girl,
girl. You know, we would be like, well, did you kick him? Did you? You know, you ain't supposed to let him get up.
so
We
then
would
it's
be
like,
sending pictures. Like, girl, guess what I did? And listen, there's no judgment for anybody, and I'm not advocating that you need to be out trying to beat folks up. I'm
wait,
really not.
may I read
But
some of the
we
comments?
but this is what happens when we are emotionally immature.
May I read a
The way that
comment?
we deal with conflict, huh?
May I read a comment? Shantae said, no, honey, not alone. And she said she was a drink water thrower.
I'm telling you. And
I
I'm
have another.
sure Shantae has grown. Go ahead.
I have a. Oh, go finish your statement, and I'm going to read a question from someone in the comments. Okay.
That was it. Read on. Because I
Okay.
can't
So,
see the comments.
oh, you can. Okay. Yeah, they're coming in a lot. You're getting a lot of love, sis. So, Vanessa, thank you for your question. And she asked, Sarita, do you believe that at the age when trauma occurs, a part of the person's emotionally recesses? For example, if the trauma occurred at age 7, which I do know I heard a lot does happen at 7, a part of us emotionally is still 7 years old.
The short answer is hell yes. That's
Yeah.
why we talk about our inner child. And so what happens is when, first of all, the age that the trauma happens is very important. It's critical
Can
because
you explain that?
the earlier in our human development that we have a disruption of love and nurturing, because okay, let me just say this,
Mhm.
human beings, we require certain shit to develop. Like it's we it feels hard because we have the patriarchy telling us that children and women are objects, but it's
Mm,
not. We require consistent care, mirroring, meaning I see you, I hear you, I understand your feelings. You're allowed to have your feelings. We need the space to develop autonomy, meaning to be independent in our thinking and our being. We need to be seen as human beings, to have compassion, and for the adults in our lives to recognize that the things that we have labeled as whether it's terrible twos, or children need to be compliant and they need to be perfect, they don't need you don't need to be out here acting up. Well, that's against how human beings develop, because we develop because we push boundaries. We have to. As an
mhm.
adult, you might not like that because you feel like your children, especially if you have a lot of shame as a parent, because anything that your child does, you will take it as if it's a personal attack on you because you ain't dealt with your own feelings of being defective. This is how we end up shaming our children and criticizing our children and making our children feel worthless. Okay, now that I got that out,
Do you
go ahead.
know I saw that? Well, you know how you and I talk offline. I see that so much at work. I'm just going to be honest, and some people may or may not agree, but this is from my experience. I look at some of their patients. I've worked in another zip code with a lighter hue, and then where I work at now with patients that in another zip code with a darker hue. And if I'm explaining to the parent, I know I'm explaining to a parent, okay, well, I don't know, Bobby's teeth, they're not clean, and this is what we need to do. Here's a plan of action, da 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 da. And then the lighter hue will say, well, we're gonna work on that together. Ah, just last week, I said this to another patient. She mushed her daughter in the face, and her daughter was trying to explain, and then she told her daughter to shut the fuck up in front of everybody in the treatment area. And that's not the first time I've seen that. I felt so bad for that daughter. And the little girl was maybe 12 years old. She literally put her hands on her and mushed her in the face. And all her daughter was just trying to explain something was wrong with the whatever. And her mom, she didn't want to hear it. So now I'm sitting there quiet, triggered, because I'm going back to my experience as a child. See how it just shows up?
It does. It does. And I want to, two things I want to say is that the point that I was trying to make, and I want to make sure that I complete because I know I went off on that tangent that I felt was very important. The age is important. And what happens is we will stop emotionally developing. And that's why we
Mhm.
have to go back. That's why we, in order to heal the wound, we do have to connect with the parts of us that were hurt, that may have felt devalued or disrespected, or the parts of us that weren't loved. So the idea of, inner child, having an inner child or inner children is absolutely real. So
Mhm.
being stuck is because we have parts of us that actually are stuck based on the wounds we experience. Now, about that, what you saw at work is so sad to me that that is more common than not. And what it actually shows, and we just have to keep it real because
Yeah.
at this stage in the game, for all of us as Black people, as Black women, we can no longer afford to sugarcoat, to tiptoe, to make excuses for. I want to tell the truth. I want to have some compassion, but I also want to recognize that how we attempt to control children, many parents, and many of us have experienced this. The fact that you would be in a dental office, hear
Mm.
what the dentist is saying, because that's why you fucking go. so that you're not a dentist. This is why you get feedback in your life from people, from situations, from professionals, because you're not a professional in that area. And it's about, okay, well, making sure that everyone is doing what they need to do in order for you to have optimal health. To disrespect the child in a public place like that is extremely humiliating and
Yes.
shameful. So if you would do that in public, you damn sure are doing it on a regular basis at home. So what is this little girl learning about love? What kind
Mm.
of partner do you think she's going to grow up and attract as an adult? Because someone who loves you will mush you in the face at a fucking dentist office and tell you that what you have to say is meaningless. So, do you really think that this child is going to grow up and be attracted to someone who's going to love her, to be emotionally available to her, to take care of her? No, she will not, most likely, unless there's some kind of intervention or some kind of help. This is what generational trauma does. And this is what people who are emotionally immature do. Because any kind of criticism triggers your shame. And instead of you addressing your feelings and your shame, you make the child wrong. And so now your child will also grow up feeling defective.
Absolutely. You know, it wow, that makes sense because the way my mindset is right now, I see how that can affect the daughter now going forward. So now it seemed like the roles had switched. So now I was comforting her. First, I was like, "Mom, don't do that. No, you know." And I was like, "We're just gonna try to work with it and show her how to do it." And then I'm up here comforting the daughter, and I was like, "I know you can. You know, I'm just coaching her,
Right.
but I should not have been the one that validate her. I didn't mind, but
But
because her
yes, you
mother,
should have. Why shouldn't you have? Clearly,
my
mama didn't know how.
exactly. And that's why I felt the need to validate her, you
But
know,
why
and
is that
coach.
bad? You know
No,
what I'm saying?
well, because it should have been her mother.
Well, see, this is the thing. Should have been, could have been is a cognitive distortion, but mama clearly doesn't have the capacity to.
So it is what it is.
It
I get
is
what
what it
you're
is until mama decides to be different. But see, this is the thing about wounds and trauma and shame. I think so many of us as Black women, we carry a lot of shame.
saying.
And
Hmm.
I think we carry a lot of shame that is inherited, a lot of shame around trying to not be what everyone says we are, shame about, and this is what I think is a big one, is that with all of our issues and challenges and wounds, we still put on the fucking cape and the mask and we try to live according to this idea of perfection, and it's
Right.
killing us. And so what that mother displayed is that you should know better. You should know better.
And she said that.
And this is what this is
Mhm.
this whole, we as Black women, I'm making a formal request that we remove that fucking statement. We remove this idea, this insidious, toxic, poisonous way of thinking that we've inherited, and stop using it against ourselves and our children.
Mhm.
Because the message that is being communicated is that you should know every fucking thing, that you are not allowed to make mistakes, that you must be perfect, especially in front of people who are looking, because these people will judge you. And if they judge you, it means that there is clearly something wrong with you and all your fears about yourself are right. And all of that is trauma, and trauma is a fucking lie. It's
It
a
is.
setup.
And you know, she yelled at her and she said, pointing close to her head, and she's like, "You're not going to embarrass me like this."
That's the biggest
She
thing.
said that.
That
I was like,
is,
"Ooh."
if you're not going to embarrass me, means that I am shamed. You're not the perfect child, and therefore I'm not a good mother. Because so many of us have, we, and we're taught this. It's been taught from generation to generation, when, we don't want to be everything that white people say we are. So you're not allowed to have a fucking cavity. You're supposed to know how to brush your teeth perfectly at 3 years old.
Right.
You're not allowed to make a mistake.
So we have a question, and Hey, Reps. Reps wants to know who is this beautiful spirit? Well,
She
Reps,
must be talking about both of us.
well, Ursula, of course, but the beautiful spirit right over, no, there, her name is Sarita. And Sarita gave her intro before, but Sarita, for because we have a lot of new people coming in, can you just
Mhm.
tell everyone briefly again about you?
Yes, I don't mind. I'm Cerita Yvonne, and I'm an educated and validated relational trauma expert. I'm an unapologetic, if you don't know already, half hood, half holy trauma coach, or you're going to get the real. And I'm an awesome, amazing psychotherapist. And so this is what I do.
And you do it so well. You do it so well. And also, if you are enjoying this content, I see a lot of Facebook users. If you can go to YouTube, Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together, subscribe to my channel because I have Sarita. She's been on a lot. She's a show favorite. And you can go back and watch some of the past episodes as well as other people, other guests that I've had on. And if you enjoy the content as well, and you'd love to buy your girl some coffee, because the throat gets a little parched when you create all this content. I dropped the link in the
I need to
description
start
box.
doing that.
Yes, ma'am. You like to buy me a coffee, and also really everything, all the support goes to supporting this channel and all the healing content that comes with it.
Absolutely.
But more
Absolutely.
importantly, please subscribe to my channel. Oh, and also, we're going to talk about it towards the end. Sarita has a program that's coming out, but we still have a lot of delicious morsels to feed you before we get into that.
Yes. And of course,
And
I think a lot of you already follow me, but if you don't, absolutely follow the whole therapist on Facebook.
yes, blind guy, his wife, and their life said, "We appreciate you, Sarita."
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Clearly, he's not really blind because he recognized the truth, honey.
Oh, we have a brother in here, Samuel. Oh, I just lost it. Oh, Samuel Seals. Hello. And he said, "Thank you for sharing."
Absolutely.
Or was
Thank
that for
you. And thank you for being here.
or was that for buying me a coffee? No. Thank you. Okay, so what we're gonna do is shift a little bit. That's right. Dope discussions live. So her name is Erica. She's one of the co-hosts when I go on Instagram live, and
Oh,
with
uh-huh.
Shashura Talks. Yes, when we talk dope shift. So Erica said, like this video so others can find this video in their timeline.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. Great suggestion.
And Vanessa Martin says, I love being a sister. Yes.
Absolutely.
Nothing like it.
Absolutely.
Nothing like it. So, well, we already went over a lot of this. I was going to ask you the genesis of triggers, but we went through that. What about identifying the responses?
Oh, that's a very good question. And see, I think that okay, I'll give you the short version. I think that identifying triggers is really where some of the work comes in. This is very necessary work, right?
Mhm.
Because you can trace back what happened. And really, the thing is, when we get into what happened, we typically get into the story of what we perceived. But when you tap into what was I feeling? Because the feeling is the thread that will lead you back to the source.
Right.
And so, one common feeling that I've seen with my clients is that it will come back to often feelings of unworthiness, being rejected, feeling unlovable, feeling unwanted. And
Mhm.
just think about it as an adult, the adult in you, when you begin to take a step back and objectively look at, well, why was I feeling that? Then you can begin to see the story. So take a minute, if you're willing, to think about the last time that you were triggered. What happened? What was the feeling that came up in you? Because see, the feeling is what has you acting out. It has you making up stories. That feeling is what might create anxiety. So go ahead.
But what about for people who for so from what I learned, usually the secondary emotions, how can they tap into that as opposed to that initial I'm gonna throw a drink in their face or flip the goddamn table over? How can they tap into
Well,
no,
see,
I'm
in
really
the
doing a
moment,
big
the trigger's already done. The trigger's already executed. If you fucking flipping a table over,
yeah.
you don't even have the capacity in the moment to be like, well, what triggered me? Well, maybe I was feeling. No,
No, because I felt like He-Man and the Hulk in one body.
because the
Yeah.
adrenaline is already pumping. And for some of us, because that's the fight response. If we are in a flight response, we might completely emotionally shut down. You might engage in whatever addictions, that's your preference. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You've already been triggered, and then you're already doing what is your normal response to being triggered. That's already happening. So if your
Mm.
question is, well, how do you stop it? Then the opportunity is to, with practice and self-awareness, by doing what I was just describing, you will begin to become aware. And one thing I should say, since we're talking about triggers and trauma, is that a lot of times we're not aware of of being triggered because we've been shut down and emotionally numb for so long.
Oh my God.
You're not in tune with your feelings, you're not in tune with your own needs. This is a part of the Black Superwoman complex. And it is a way that we have been able to survive
Mm.
experiences that were difficult or unmanageable or painful. This is how we are still able to get shit done and go to school and start businesses and make things happen. But being shut down and being numb in a relationship, it will never work because relationship requires you to be turned on, tuned in touch in order to have a healthy relationship with healthy interactions. Does that make sense?
1,000,000%.
So the work will be is to begin to understand what are some of the things that trigger you. And I'm going to talk about this extensively in the challenge next week. What
Mhm.
triggers you? What behaviors trigger you? What are the experiences and the wounds that have happened to you that created this? So, for example, you talked about yourself in the beginning. If
Mhm.
I have been abandoned as a child, emotionally or physically abandoned, then one of my greatest fears is being abandoned. And so I can handle that in one of two ways in terms of unhealthy behaviors. I
Mhm.
could cling, I could people please, I could stay in relationships longer than I'm supposed to. I could do all the things to try to hold on so that I won't be abandoned, so that I will be loved.
Mhm. That
The
sounds so
opposite
familiar.
side would be more love avoidance. So anytime someone tries to get close to me, then I become afraid. Then I withdraw. I worry. If people are expressing their needs and they talking about their feelings, it's going to turn me off and shut me down. And I'm going to call them clingy. I'm going to say these are the emotionally unavailable people. I'm going to make it about the other person because I'm too afraid to look at my own feelings. And usually fear is at the root of it. It's the same
Mhm.
fear of abandonment that is showing up differently. Does that make sense? So if you don't call me when you say you're going to call me, then I'm triggered to my own story of being abandoned.
And that's exactly what it is for real. It's like
So
you
you got to be willing to do the work to understand
yeah.
what are your triggers? What are these feelings? Really, what it comes down to is beginning to understand the core beliefs, the things that you believe about yourself based on your painful, traumatic experience. That's what you're
Mm.
really understanding because the trigger is triggering you to something negative that you believe about yourself. Like, if he's not calling me when he says he's going to call, then I'm not worthy. So the problem isn't that he didn't call. The problem is that you're really holding on to a belief from your past that you're unworthy.
Mm. Deep breath.
Absolutely. If anyone's getting triggered, know that you're safe in this present moment.
Yes.
Center yourself, and you can love on the little girl in you that is feeling some pain right now.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot to chew, but it's needed. You know, this is a healing circle. Patrice, hello, beautiful OG. She said, I appreciate this conversation. Sis is dropping gems. We are our sister's keeper.
We really
Love.
are. We really are.
Yeah. I'm going to read a few more. You're getting a lot of love since you can't read the chats. May Williams, and thank you, Patrice, for your comment. May, she's like, I thank you all for this live chat. Chat, very helpful for my life. Thank you, May. And Vanessa, I think there was a way to stop the reaction to the trigger.
There is a way, but the way is to not get triggered. And so, really, what it is about understanding your window of tolerance, because the way to stop the trigger is self awareness. So when you recognize what people are doing or what thing and what ways that you've been hurt, then you can approach, actually, you can take responsibility for your reaction and the way that you think about what people are doing to you. It is more difficult to do it in the moment because of how your stress response system works, because of how
Right.
your brain works. You are not online when someone is angry and aggressive, does it ever fucking help to say, you need to calm down? Can you calm down?
Oh,
Why won't
no.
you just calm down?
That's
It
adding
doesn't work.
fuel. That's adding fuel. You know,
Exactly.
when that person, when he said what he said to me right before I flipped the table over, uh, I should have said something. I should have communicated with him, obviously, instead of going to
Mhm.
violence. However, even to this day, nothing was ever communicated. So you see, there's still no conversation going on.
And that's part of the challenge is that when
Yeah.
we're triggered to our story and we think that we know what's going on. We think that our perceptions are correct, but your perceptions about what's happening is based on your past, based on your wounds, not what is actually happening right now. This is why we can easily ignore red flags because trauma severs your relationship with your perception. Because if you are told so many
Mm,
times
that's
that
good.
your perception doesn't matter, your words doesn't matter, don't matter, you're getting mushed in the face at the dentist's office because maybe you ain't know how to brush your teeth correctly, then you will question and doubt everything about the way that you think, about the
Mhm.
who you are. And so when it comes to being triggered, um, most often we go extreme and we go negative and we go left real fast.
Absolutely. And that's why I named this show My Partner Annoys the Fuck Out of Me, because we're quick to, and this is not a judgment, because I've been that person too and still working on it. Like, damn, he is just getting on my nerves. Him. But it's really within us with our unresolved triggers, our unresolved trauma, the little girl that never received love,
Mhm,
validation.
mhm.
So, but you know what? Doing the work, it is challenging, but for myself, I know that I've put literally a lifetime, probably two lifetimes at my age now, into pouring into other people, other
Mhm.
men, talking about in relationships and not pouring into myself.
Absolutely. That is
Yeah.
a common symptom for us as Black women who are taught to be superwomen,
Hmm.
and women who've experienced trauma, because we don't realize how much we are working to prove ourselves worthy. A
Hmm.
lot of what we do is about filling a void, of filling that void that has come from not getting enough love and respect as a child.
Can we talk about how, and then I'm going to read something. Can we talk about what it looks like to fill that void?
What it looks like to fill the void in a healthy way or unhealthy
No,
way?
in an unhealthy way. We're going to learn how to do that through your program in a healthy way. But just so people won't
Yes.
think that they're the only person. And if anything resonates with the listeners, put a light bulb emoji, like if that sounds familiar to you.
So some of the ways that we will deal with triggers that's in an unhealthy way is anger and rage. Some of us are rageaholics. Some of us were raised by rageaholics, where they want
Mm,
to deal with everything, not actually dealing with your emotions, but expressing rage. And a very common one in our community and in our culture generally
mm-hmm.
is um my mind completely went blank.
Well,
Wait,
you're
wait, 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 wait. Oh, okay. A couple of things. One, sex. Sex is a very common way, hypersexuality, promiscuity. It's a common way for us to attempt to create pseudo intimacy, for us to experience the connection that we desire, to feel worthy and wanted and validated sexually. Very common. And we have a culture, a Black culture, that validates that, right? Well, if you
mm-hmm.
good in bed, if you can, you know what I'm saying? If you do it like this, then you are it. We have so many ways. Oh, what slipped my mind in that moment was addiction.
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 That
Oh,
too.
yes, addiction, addicted to dick, but also addiction in general. So, addictions are a common way that we deal with the emotions when we're triggered.
Right.
So, addiction could be a substance. It could be sex. It could be food. And for Black women, many of us have a very deep and intimate relationship with food
Mm,
because it works. Okay. Cheesecake and cookies and pies always make me feel a certain way. And
right.
our relationship, while the consequences were complicated, but actually enjoying and partaking, that was an easy fix for me as a child. And
Mm-hmm.
so, addictions, you could be addicted to TV, to social media, to shopping. And we know that a large way, I won't say large, but a common way that for many of us in the Black community is labels.
What do
If
you
you
mean?
slap, if you slap a fucking label on it, if you buy the right
Oh,
shirt, jacket, shoes, pants, purse, hair, anything that you could buy that's currently in, that people will tell you that it gives you some sort of validation, then you're worthy, right? You
mm-hmm.
people will love you for it. And so we can use anything as a tool to keep ourselves numb, because that's what it is. That's what drugs do. That's what addiction does,
Absolutely.
to keep you numb so that you are not aware and connected with what's going on with you.
Deep breath. Vanessa said, hard to hear, but necessary.
It
So
is.
it is. So, everyone, I'm going to read something. Sarita, I haven't shared this with you, but this literally shattered my soul.
Uh-oh.
I just saw it this morning on Facebook. I won't say who posted it because, yeah, but I'm going to read it. And you all let me know how you feel. Put a light bulb emoji if it made your soul vibrate. It's a, she said, I know he's toxic, but the sex is so good. Let's start being honest with ourselves. The only reason you think sex with your toxic ass man is so fucking good is because that's the only time you feel seen and cared for by him. It's the only time he pays attention to your needs. Woo, sis. Soul ties are beyond real. When I read that, I wanted to throw this phone across the room, but instead, I did not. I embraced it because it obviously made my soul vibrate. And there goes all the light bulb emojis up in the chats. It's something else. And that goes back to what you said, like the addiction of it all. Oh,
So let's just keep it real. Because of trauma, so many of us are attracted to How rare you want me to keep it?
I want you to keep it. It's Friday. It's Freedom Friday,
Okay,
baby.
okay,
We keep it
okay.
all the way real.
And I know this is me too. This has been me. So many of us, because of trauma, I have to clarify because I want you to be gentle with yourself, are attracted to people who don't give a damn about you, who
Hmm.
have shown you and will show you that they don't give a damn about you. They're not capable of intimacy other than sex and having a good stroke. Okay. They're not capable. And so many of us are attracted to people who are unavailable. And they are attractive because guess what? You know what you're fucking getting. They
Right.
can't hurt you because you're not giving your heart. You say you do. I
Mm.
said I did. You say I love him. I loved him so much. Baby, no, you didn't. You loved him in a way that was safe for you based on where you were. Because you knew he wasn't about shit. And because you knew he wasn't about shit, you never really completely opened the door because then you knew it wasn't safe.
Right.
You knew it wasn't safe for you to be emotionally intimate or vulnerable with him. That's why you picked him. Because somebody else who would require you to get naked emotionally, to show all
Mm.
your wounds, to express your real deepest feelings, to express how you have felt lonely and unworthy and you haven't felt value. You didn't want that in your pain because that is much scarier than
Yeah.
dealing with someone with some good dick and fucked up emotions.
Mind blown.
We say that
Mm.
why do I keep attracting these kind of people? Because that's what you are attracted to. That's what you are attracted to based on your wounds. And it is safer to be with someone who's not going to require you to open your heart. You can open your leg, but don't open your heart. And that is not soul ties. We call it soul ties because you don't know what to call it, but these are attachment wounds. This is based on attachment. It's based on attachment theory. It's based on how you learn to love. They are not soul ties. You might call it soul ties because it's like, oh, our spirits are bonded. No, he just know how to hit your fucking G spot. That is not a
Right.
goddamn soul tie. Let's just keep it real. If the stroke is good, the stroke is good. Say that.
Well, Tashura said, she's another co-host who I was talking about with Talking Dope Shit. She said some don't even have a good stroke.
Girl, and they don't.
Leave it to Tashura to come through with the realness. I love
And they
it.
don't.
Hey, Celeste. Celeste said, laugh my ass off. Nothing's wrong with getting the G spot hit.
Hey, listen, I'm not judging, but we also have to be honest with ourselves because if we're not willing to look at ourselves, to do the healing work, to tell the truth, we will continue to attract the same thing and then say that something is wrong with them. They didn't know how to do for you in the way you needed or loved you in the way you needed. But the important part to understand is that is why you picked him, because that is the story of our trauma, is that we continue to repeat and perpetuate the same traumas in the relationships that we find ourselves in. That's why you ain't with the boring motherfucker.
Right. Because when it is
He's
boring,
not going
oh,
to
he's
trigger
dull.
you.
He's too nice.
And that's what trauma will tell you. And it's not because there's something wrong with him or there's something wrong with you. It's just that you've learned to love that in a way that's based on being a product of your environment.
Exactly. Erica said, I'm not wasting time with nobody who can't even stroke right. I know that's right, girl.
Well, as we heal, then we start to say, well, I can't waste time with someone who's not emotionally available because that is all that person has to give you is the dick. You know what I'm saying? That's why you do feel seen, because you are seen in that moment, not for who you really are. You're being seen in in the sexual act for what you're doing, but you're not being seen for your heart, for your value, for the
The
divine
wholeness.
within. Yes, the
The
amazingness,
wholeness.
all of the great things and all of the flawed things, and they're not seeing the whole you because they don't care, because they don't want to see the whole aspect of themselves.
Absolutely.
They see themselves as an object. How are they going to treat you like a whole fucking human being?
You know, that goes back to the live that you and I have done earlier this year.
Oh,
Remember that book? And this what got me when the author said how, you know, we're going to speak hetero now. If a man doesn't know how to communicate and he holds everything from within, but he can hit it right now. And we know damn well he's cheating or if he's emotionally shut down. And he had said that women, we will practice passive promiscuity
we
and
do.
he'll have his dick, but then we open our legs wide like a pacifier and just let him enter us. And
Look at that face. Well, I mean, and this is very human, okay? There is no judgment because I've had my fair share of being addicted, okay? So ain't no judgment on my end.
yeah,
Um, but I think for so many Black men and Black women, we are completely shut down emotionally because of our history, because of the way we've been raised. And it's showing up in our relationships. And men, the sad part about men is that a lot of them believe that it is natural for them to be shut down emotionally.
that's
And
a
that
whole
is the
nother show, girl.
saddest.
Ugh.
It is the saddest, most ridiculous, and it's one of the biggest lies that they tell themselves so
It
that
is.
they could be numb and comfortable, because human beings aren't designed that way. You're not designed, unless you're a fucking robot. You're
Right.
designed to be connected to other people. You're designed to love and be loved. We are relational beings.
I'm going to read what Erica said, and it piggybacks exactly what you said. And she posted this earlier. We're attracted to people who reflect what we're already saying to ourselves. That little voice that says, I don't deserve love.
That's the little voice that was hurt at 5, 6, 10, 12.
Yeah,
That little voice is real.
it really is. It
But she,
screams loud.
and that's why healing is necessary, because you can't let that little girl in you run your life and choose your mates.
Deep breath, Ursula. Deep breath. Yeah. Mm,
You got to love on her. You got to love on her. You can't
yeah.
be looking for love in all the wrong places. No, because that's what she gonna be doing. Because she wants to be loved. The little girl in you wants to be loved, and you have to honor her by giving her the love that she needs, not
Before
from a
we,
fucking app. Okay, you ain't gonna
right.
find it on Tinder or Grinder or not even Christian Mingle. The love that she needs, you got to give it to her,
I hear sending dick pics is a thing on Christian Mingle.
girl. Well, is there human beings on Christian Mingle? Okay, then I'm not surprised.
Let me read a few more. You're getting so much love. Oh, Tashara, she said, funny as hurt as I thought I was last night. A tear didn't fall this time.
Oh, I don't know if I should say. Oh, honey, I send you some love.
Um,
Yeah, I do. We love you.
yeah, that's my girl right there. I like her a lot. She says that her logical mind kicked in and spoke to my emotions every time I had a thought.
Now that's what it means to come to your own rescue. Is that you can
Yes,
have the thoughts and you can recognize that the thought may not be true.
my
Because a
girl.
lot of times what we think is not true. A lot of times what we think is a rehash of the past. That's
That makes my
wonderful.
heart
Go
warm.
you.
Yeah, that makes me smile. Celeste Celeste said she had a loudspeaker. I'm sure it's whatever gym you dropped.
Hi, Sarah. We love you.
And then, oh, this is what I'm talking about. LC Reeves, thank you so much for this comment. She said, it all makes sense now.
That's what I love. That's what it's about. That's why I
Sis,
do what I do, because I searched most of my life trying to make it make sense. And I couldn't. No matter what I accomplished, no matter what I did, no matter how many prayers I said, it wasn't making sense. I wasn't making sense
right.
until I really began to look at myself through the lens of understanding my trauma.
Vanessa, we appreciate you too.
Yes,
She
thank
said, thank you, ladies.
you.
And Vanessa, I'm going to need you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let me go down the list. Robin Smith Haynes, please subscribe to Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. I'm going to say one more name.
That's
And then
why her ass wanted to do a live with me today. Yes.
no,
Yes, do
no.
what Ursula says. I love her and I love her podcast, and I'll probably be on again soon.
Sooner than later. So, oh, this is what I'm talking about. Tashura said, this was what I needed.
Oh, I love
We all
it.
need it.
It was worth 30 minutes of figuring out our tech challenges then.
Oh my
Thank you.
God.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
So you're talking about the self-awareness of it all. So some sisters, we're thinking, well, how do we do this? So we're going to shift gears right now. You all, I have to put it down again. Well, actually, if you take a screenshot of the screen now, yep, Erica, right on time. loveyouchallenge.com. That's where Cerita is going to show and teach. Oh, she said
Let me
share the,
tell them.
yeah,
Let me
let
tell
me
them what I'm going to be doing.
hold on. Let me while you do that, because somebody wanted me to post the link again. I'm listening.
Okay. Um, so I am hosting a challenge beginning on Monday at 7 p.m. I'm so excited because it's free. So you need to be signing up if you like this conversation, because I am going to break it down from the beginning. We are going to be understanding, like, what is trauma? How have you been traumatized? Because I guarantee you've been traumatized in ways that you don't even know. And why is this important? Because it's affecting your relationships, it's affecting your self image, it's affecting your um, relationship with your children, it's affecting your ability to secure
Mhm.
the bag. So, I am going to break down trauma. We are going to be talking about triggers, how you are being controlled by your triggers. I'm going to get very specific. I think it's day 3 or 4. I'm going to be talking about how to discern to how, excuse me, let me take a breath because I'm so excited. How to discern toxic motherfuckers that trigger your trauma and your fears. We're going
Yeah.
to be talking about the root of unworthiness, because so many of us secretly struggle with it and we don't really have any clue why. Like, there's no evidence of your unworthiness in your life other than the choices of partners that you've had. But that choices of partners is based on your trauma, it's not based on your worth. So we're
Mm.
going to break all of that down. And I'm looking forward to it because, listen, I'm all about transformation. And I think that I've worked hard to create something that I have always needed. You know what I'm saying? And when
Yes.
I was on my journey trying to understand me, trying to have a closer relationship with spirit, like, I'm like, I'm a child of God, but yet I didn't even feel worthy of the human beings around me. There's a problem. There's a disconnect. And it's not
Absolutely.
you, it's trauma. So let's get into it. Sign up, baby. Sign up. Listen, I used to have rap songs in my head. Now it's like all my daughter's 4, like all these cartoons and shit, like Bubble Guppies is in my head. So come on, sign up,
Wait,
everybody, sign up.
so we're gonna do what Shantae said. She said the first Love You challenge was amazing. Please join. You will be amazed. And Shantae, if you would love to come on the live,
She
I'm
would love to.
serious. If
She
you would
would
love
love
to,
to.
I would love for you to come on and at least give a whatever's on your heart to let people know how it changed your
Oh.
life, what the transformation that you have made, or tell us what some of the tools I will, or if anyone in the chat that's been, I'm going to drop the link right now in the
Oh, that's
chat.
so awesome. I didn't even expect this. This is so amazing.
Well, I can't tell you everything. I
I
want you to be
see.
surprised.
I'm here for it though. I think that's wonderful.
Oh, she said not right now. She can do it another
Oh,
time. I can
oh, she
respect
might,
that.
yeah, some people might actually be working and stuff.
True. Well, you can type it in the comments if you feel like it, Shantae. But if anyone else or anyone else, if you'd like to come on, or if you haven't taken the challenge, why don't you come on and just say how much you enjoyed what Sarita is saying today? Robin said, Sarita has impacted my life in a great way. That's what I'm talking about. So,
I
what
love
I'm going
y'all
to
so
do
much.
right now, take a screenshot. I put the link right there. It's loveyouchallenge.com. And I'm going to, Sarita, may I read from your Love You challenge from your website?
Sure.
This is the best. She said she's talking about the challenge, and it's time for you to stop making fucking excuses and break through so you can. I'm going to go down the list. This is so impactful. So you can finally experience feeling the peace of being whole because the one you've been looking for is you. The
That's right.
breakthrough, you will own your power already. Yes, confidently pursue your purpose, trust yourself, and lean into your faith because the God in you has waited long enough. And if anything I'm reading, I want you all to put some light bulb emojis in the comment section. Moving forward, stop being toxic and enjoy healthy, loving, and balanced relationships where you get your needs met. You can embrace intimacy and closeness. Oh, wait, someone's coming on. And tighter bonds.
They are.
End your attraction to toxic, dependent, addicted, irresponsible, or emotionally unavailable lovers because that shit is life threatening and draining. And may I read one more because I am on a roll because my soul is vibrating for real, for real. Become a better parent, break generational curses, and teach your children the power of love, of self love, so that they don't become victims of their own pain and unworthiness, and that you can love you like your life depended on it because it does. Girl,
I wrote that.
I all of it. Oh, Tashara's on. Okay, let me patch her in.
Oh, I see Elsie Reeves. I see your comment. Thank you
Bestie. That's my bestie.
so much. Hi.
Tashara, you're frozen.
Hi.
Well, we can
Hey,
hear you. You can keep going.
I'm still frozen. Okay, whatever.
But we can
So
hear you.
I had to stop. Okay, I had to stop eating my chicken and come on right quick because per our conversation last night, you and Erica already know that I was going through some things that I'm like, yeah. So when I'm hearing her talk, I was like, what Ursula didn't told her because she all up in my business. I know you.
Oh no.
She's joking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would
Yeah,
never do that.
told her nothing, but I'm like, yeah, this was for me. All of this
It's for all
was
of us.
because she sounded like my logical mind last night. When she started doing them motherfuckers, that was me talking to me. Because I was like, you got to be out your motherfucking mind. Now you know good goddamn well, blase skip a woo woo woo. So what you sitting up here feeling sad for, listen to these damn sad love songs over this perfume? Yeah, so I am signing up for the love challenge. I will definitely be doing it as soon as I finish. And so I just want to on and say thank you, Ursula, for having her on. I will be following you because I like what you're talking about because I'm holy in hood too. So I already
You
listen.
already know.
Choose ye day which one you want, Jesus or Peter, okay?
I love you already. I'll be following you too. Invite me on too, so I can talk some dope shift.
Yeah, we don't have to probably do a StreamYard and have her on, because boy, that's
Let's
gonna be
do
a
it.
good conversation with the four of us.
Let's
Let's
Yeah.
do
do
it.
it. Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
All right, so let me go. I gotta transform into the Grinch within the next hour. So see you guys
Thank
later.
you so much for coming on. We so appreciate you. We love you.
We do love you, Tashara.
Yes.
Tell everybody about your wreath and where they can get your belongings
Oh,
before you get off.
KKG Creations with the K and a Z at the end. I make a variety of wreaths. They're all on my Instagram page at KKG Creations 1. I got all type of wreaths from the Grinch. I will be making some aints and some cowgirls and all of that stuff. So I don't just do holiday wreaths. I know Erica got something to say about that because I said the ain't. But I do wreaths for all occasions. I bling almost everything. I do a lot. So I will be going live on my page within the next hour because we have this huge event that's going to be going on out here. And I'll show you guys my setup of everything that I have set out in my store.
Awesome. I just dropped the link to your website. Tashara, we'll talk after all this is going on, okay?
Yeah, you
Oh,
know
and
we got.
Robin says she needs a saint's wreath. For real. She just said that.
We'll make sure
Rob,
she dropped the link already.
look me up on Facebook, Robin, Tashura Lamar, TSHURA LAMAR, or Tashura Talks.
I'll
Thank
drop the link.
you. I'm
Thanks,
so glad you
Tashara.
came on. Yeah,
Hi,
I'll see you on Monday.
ma'am.
Love you. Sarita saving souls one gem at a time. I
Uh,
love it. I
did
love
somebody
it.
say that? Because actually, I'm just giving you the tools. You doing it yourself because that's how powerful you are.
Oh, my therapist has said that too. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, she has said
That's
that.
real. I got to
Mm-hmm.
give all the credit to you. Oh, okay, listen, I got to give some credit to what I know, but the work you're doing all the work. And it's amazing because when you really see how empowered you actually are, then you recognize that you never want to let trauma or anybody else run your life.
Right. I'm going to read one thing off of your website. So you're talking about how we are today and how after going through your challenge, how you'll feel after well, either the 7 day or even if they join your program after 90 days. So you gave an example of us attracting broken, unavailable, emotionally immature, empty, narcissistic, or manipulative partners who lack integrity, self respect, and honesty. Or you find the nice guys boring. And here's a hint that we're toxic too. So, what will we walk away with in 90 days or in the 7 days, depending on which program people would like
Well,
to
you know
choose?
what? There's Shantae just made a great comment, and you may want
Oh,
to put that one on the screen.
let me see.
So after 5 days with me, actually after the first 4 days, and this was the one that Shantae went through was the very first one that I did. This is the second one. Um,
I'm trying to find it.
oh, it's
Oh, there it
it is.
is. Is it real long?
Yes.
Yes. And she said, Shantae said, I was able to see, oh, that I had a I am defective core belief
And in just 5 days,
in just
she got
5 days.
delivered and
She
set
got,
free. Come
I
on
am
now.
right. I'm now happier, able to receive compliments and see myself as God says I am. I have embraced that nothing is wrong with me. I am whole. Yes, ma'am. I am whole, and it's just my trauma speaking. I have even started to be a better grandma. I love it. She's breaking generational curses and cycles. She's a better grandmother, understanding that children learn respect by being respected. Thanks, Sarita.
Do I need to say anything else? So let me say that when I was putting the challenge together,
Yeah,
people will, when you're trying to create a business, even though my business is really the business of healing, That comes first. It's not just about the money, right? And so people are like, no, you don't want to give stuff away. You want them to pay for it. What I really wanted is for people to have a transformation. So I put a lot of thought into what can I teach? What can I talk about in 5 days that's going to make that happen? And
Mm-hmm.
oh, me and Spirit, you know what I'm saying? Spirit is my bestie. We got it done.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited and I love teaching. And so I'm really looking forward to this one. And
That's
Shantae, I
amazing.
love you. Thank you so much for that amazing testimony. Thank you.
Yeah, that's dope. And Celeste says, yeah, Sarita is so dope. And she is. She
She's
said,
calling
does
me
she,
out right now.
she said, does she have a podcast we
She
can
know
listen
damn
to?
well I ain't got no damn podcast yet because we done talked about it. But she calling me out low key. But I'm glad she did it real gently and smooth. That's why I love you, Celeste. You're an amazing therapist. If y'all don't follow Celeste the therapist, go
Yes.
follow her too now because I love her very much. But yes, I'm going to call you after the beginning of the year so you can help me. You can help me set it up and spread all this hood and holy to the entire universe.
Like Robin said, hood and holy rolling.
Yes. So we are working on that. I just, we working through the challenge and, doing working with my ladies. So it's coming. It's coming. And I'm gonna need y'all help.
So, Sarita,
Yes.
you are a Black girl that has her shift together.
Hey, hey, only took me multiple six figures. And that's it. Oh, only took me multiple six figures and some student loan debt and some degrees to figure it out, but I did it.
She did it. So, if you all would love to have Sarita come back, I am on hiatus, but this was a pop up live. But if you would love for Sarita to come back for season 4 of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together, throw some heart emojis up in the comment section. And we're going to make that happen. And if you also have some topics that you would love to be discussed, you can. Oh, you already got a heart already.
Well,
That
I
means you got
better
to
I
come back.
better have some hearts.
Yeah, slide up in the
Y'all better give
DM
me this love. Stop playing.
for real. Yeah, slide up in the DMs and let us know what would you like for us to discuss, and we can get it popping.
Oh yeah, I would
Oh,
love that.
there goes all these hearts are coming now.
I love it. I love y'all too. I'm
Yeah,
so, 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 so grateful because it just every comment, every heart lets me know that I am truly on purpose. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
And I struggled a large part of my life trying to figure that out. So thank you.
Can you share any parting words as we close?
I had to think about it for a second because I have so many words.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is that you are worthy of your own love.
Mm,
Some of us give it so freely and so easily to other people. We feel like it is our purpose to be in service to others.
mm, mm.
But you also have to understand that your real purpose is soul connection. And in order to have that, you have to be connected to your own.
Right.
That's where your vitality is, your energy, your creativity, your playfulness, your ability to heal yourself is within you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I encourage you to treat yourself and to give to yourself what you needed as a child. If you needed to be heard, then listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, listen to your needs. If you needed to be respected, do you respect yourself? Not just when it comes to other people, but do you respect what you want? Do you
Right.
respect what you think? So give to yourself all that you need because that is the real source of our law of attraction.
I love that. The law of attraction. That's
You
real right
are the
there.
law of attraction, baby. You are it. You ain't got to make no damn vision boards when you heal. You're it. That's your power. It's your birthright.
Whole.
So love on you.
I love it. Well, we are going to end. No,
I love
we're
you,
just gonna.
Celeste.
Yeah, this is some good stuff. I'm looking forward to our next stream very much. You may have to, I may even just keep going straight through into season 4. But I'm going to practice some self-care and take a
Yeah.
couple weeks, but returning in January. But you never know, you all. We may come up with another pop-up. So you got to stay ready and stay connected. And maybe it could be how people can talk about how they enjoyed the challenge. What they
Oh,
learned from it.
yes. That would be great. That would be
Yeah.
great. All right. I thank you all for joining in and tuning with us and being patient through our technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful.
We
I
got
really
it
am.
now. Stay on, okay? All right,
I
you all
will.
have a beautiful weekend. Enjoy this Freedom Friday. Work on yourself, love on you, and tell your inner child, I love you. I love you.
Oh, yes. We love you.
This for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti. Black girl magic, melanin popping. Whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together.